You know, there's something I hear from so many people over 60, and maybe you've felt it too. That little moment of panic when you walk into a room and suddenly can't remember why. Or maybe you've misplaced your keys, again thought, is this normal, or is my memory starting to slip? Well, here's the good news. Forgetting things now and then doesn't mean your memory is fading for good. In fact, there are simple, everyday habits that can help keep your mind sharp, your memory strong, and even make you feel more alert and engaged in life. And the best part? They're things you can start doing today. No fancy gadgets or expensive treatments required. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 daily habits that really work to help avoid memory loss after 60. These aren't just guesses, they're backed by science, and they're things that people just like you have used to stay sharp, focused, and mentally strong well into their golden years. So, let's start with the first habit. And it's one you might not expect. Movement. Now, I'm not talking about running marathons or lifting heavy weights, unless that's your thing. It's about keeping your body active in a way that feels good for you. You see, when you move, whether it's a brisk walk, some gentle stretching, or even dancing around the kitchen, you're not just helping your heart and muscles, you're also sending more oxygen-rich blood to your brain, which helps keep those memory centers healthy. Think of it like this. Your brain is a garden, and movement is the water that helps everything grow. Studies have shown that regular physical activity can actually increase the size of the hippocampus. That's the part of your brain responsible for memory. And the best part? You don't need hours at the gym. Even 20 to 30 minutes a day of walking, gardening, or even chair exercises can make a difference. Now, the second habit is all about what you put on your plate. Because yes, food plays a huge role in keeping your memory strong. You've probably heard the saying, you are what you eat. And when it comes to your brain, that couldn't be more true. Some foods are like fuel for your memory, while others, well, let's just say they don't do your brain any favors. So what should you be eating? Focus on foods rich in antioxidants, healthy fats and nutrients that support brain health. Things like leafy greens, think spinach and kale, fatty fish, salmon is a great one. Berries. Blueberries are like little brain boosters, and even nuts and seeds. These foods help fight inflammation and keep those brain cells communicating smoothly. And here's a little tip. Try adding a handful of walnuts to your day. They're packed with omega-3s, which are like superfood for your brain. Or swap out that afternoon cookie for a few slices of avocado on whole grain toast. Small changes like this can add up to big benefits over time. Now, before we move on to the next habit, let me ask you this. When was the last time you really challenged your brain? I don't mean balancing your checkbook or remembering your grocery list. I mean really giving your mind a workout. That brings us to our third habit, mental stimulation. Your brain loves a good challenge. Just like your muscles get stronger with exercise, your brain stays sharp when you give it something new to think about. And no, this doesn't mean you have to go back to school or learn advanced calculus, unless you want to. It can be as simple as picking up a new hobby, working on puzzles, or even learning a few words of a new language each day. The key here is novelty. When you do something unfamiliar, whether it's trying a new recipe, taking a different route on your walk, or even brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand, you're creating new connections in your brain. And those connections help keep your memory strong. So think about something you've always wanted to try. Maybe it's painting, playing an instrument, or even just switching up your daily crossword puzzle for a Sudoku. The more you engage your brain in new ways, the more resilient your memory becomes. Now, we've covered 3 powerful habits so far: movement, brain-boosting foods, and mental stimulation. And these alone can make a real difference in how sharp you feel every day. But there are 2 more habits we'll talk about next, and they're just as important. One has to do with how you rest, and the other is all about the people around you. So let's keep going, because the best is yet to come. You know, when we talk about keeping our memory sharp after 60, it's easy to focus only on the things we do, like moving our bodies or eating the right foods. But what about the things we don't do, like getting enough rest? That brings us to our fourth habit, and it's one that so many of us underestimate: quality sleep. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Sleep, really? I've been sleeping my whole life. But here's the thing. As we get older, our sleep patterns can change, and not always for the better. Maybe you find yourself waking up more often during the night, or feeling like you just didn't get that deep, restful sleep you used to. And here's why that matters for your memory. While you sleep, your brain is busy. It's sorting through the day's events, filing away important memories, and even clearing out toxins that can build up and affect your thinking. Think of it like this. Sleep is your brain's nightly cleanup crew. Without it, things start to get cluttered, and that's when forgetfulness can creep in. So, how can you make sure you're getting the sleep your brain needs? First, try to keep a consistent sleep schedule. Going to bed and waking up around the same time every day helps regulate your body's internal clock. And here's a tip you might not have heard. Dim the lights in the evening. Bright screens, like TVs, phones, or tablets, can trick your brain into thinking it's still daytime, making it harder to wind down. Instead, try reading a book or listening to calming music before bed. Another little trick: keep your bedroom cool and dark. A slightly cooler room can actually help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. And if you find yourself lying awake worrying about things, try this. Keep a notepad by your bed. Jot down whatever's on your mind and tell yourself, "I'll deal with this tomorrow." Sometimes just getting it out of your head is enough to help you relax. Now let's talk about our fifth habit, and this one is all about connection. Because, believe it or not, staying socially active isn't just good for your mood, it's also a powerful way to protect your memory. You see, our brains thrive on interaction. When we chat with friends, share stories, or even just laugh together, we're giving our brains a workout without even realizing it. Conversations force us to think on our feet, recall details, and stay engaged, all of which help keep those memory pathways strong. But here's the problem. As we get older, it's easy to become more isolated. Maybe friends have moved away, or you don't get out as much as you used to. And without realizing it, that lack of social stimulation can start to take a toll on your memory. So, what can you do? It doesn't have to be complicated. Even small interactions count. Call an old friend for a quick catch-up. Join a local club or group, whether it's a book club, a gardening group, or even a weekly card game. If getting out is tough, technology can help. Video calls with family or friends can be a great way to stay connected. And here's something to remember. It's not about the number of people you talk to. It's about the quality of those connections. A few meaningful conversations can do more for your brain than dozens of superficial ones. So, reach out. Say hello. Your memory will thank you for it. Now, we've covered 2 more essential habits, prioritizing sleep and staying socially active. And together with the first 3, they make up a powerful daily routine to keep your mind sharp. But before we wrap up, there's one more thing I want to share with you. It's not exactly a 6th habit, but it's just as important. Be kind to yourself. Because here's the truth. No one remembers everything perfectly, no matter their age. We all forget names or misplace our glasses sometimes. The key isn't to panic or think, "Oh no, my memory is going." Instead, it's to focus on the small, consistent things that support your brain every day. And that's what we'll dive into in the final part. How to put all these habits together in a way that feels easy, natural, and even enjoyable. Because the best routines are the ones you can stick with. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. So let's keep going. You know, when I first started researching memory health after 60, I came across something fascinating. Scientists studying centenarians, people who've lived past 100, kept noticing one common thread. These remarkable individuals weren't necessarily following strict diets or intense exercise routines. Instead, they developed simple, sustainable daily habits that supported both their bodies and their minds over time. That's really what we've been talking about in this video. Not quick fixes or drastic changes, but small, powerful habits that fit naturally into your day. And now that we've covered movement, brain-boosting foods, mental stimulation, quality sleep, and social connection, I want to leave you with something equally important: how to make these habits stick without feeling overwhelmed. Let's start with something we haven't talked about directly yet: stress management. Now, you might be wondering what stress has to do with memory. Well, as it turns out, quite a lot. When we're constantly stressed, our bodies produce more cortisol, a hormone that, in high amounts over time, can actually shrink the hippocampus, that same memory center we talked about earlier. But here's the good news: simple stress reduction techniques can make a world of difference. One of the easiest? Deep breathing. It sounds almost too simple, but taking just a few minutes each day to breathe slowly and deeply, in through your nose, out through your mouth, can help calm your nervous system. Try it right now as you're watching this. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a moment, and exhale slowly for 6. Feel that? That's your body and brain getting a little reset. Another wonderful stress buster is nature. Studies show that spending just 20 minutes outside, whether it's sitting in your garden, walking through a park, or even just listening to birdsong with your morning coffee, can lower stress hormones and improve focus. So consider making green time part of your daily routine. Now, I want to address something important. When people hear about all these habits, exercise, eating right, staying social, it's easy to think, that sounds like a lot of work. But here's the secret: you don't need to do everything perfectly every single day. In fact, the most effective approach is what I call the 80-20 rule. If you can follow these habits about 80% of the time, you'll still see tremendous benefits. Some days you might skip your walk. That's okay. Other days you might indulge in dessert instead of fruit. That's fine too. What matters is the overall pattern, not perfection. Let me share a story about one of my viewers, Lucy. At 72, she felt her memory wasn't what it used to be. She tried to overhaul everything at once: new diet, daily workouts, brain games, and within 2 weeks, she was exhausted and ready to give up. Then she tried a different approach. She picked just one new habit each month. First, she added a 10-minute walk after breakfast. When that felt easy, she started swapping her afternoon cookie for some almonds and berries. Small steps, but over time they added up. When she wrote to me 6 months later, she said she felt sharper than she had in years, and more importantly, she was enjoying the process. That's what I want for you. Maybe this week you start with one thing: adding an extra vegetable to your dinner, or calling a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Next week, you might try going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Small changes, big results. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you of something crucial. You're never too old to improve your brain health. Research shows that our brains remain capable of forming new connections throughout our lives, a phenomenon called neuroplasticity. Every time you learn something new, challenge yourself, or even just have a good laugh with friends, you're strengthening those neural pathways. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one habit from this video that resonates with you and try it for the next 7 days. Then come back and tell us in the comments how it went. Did you notice a difference? What was easier or harder than you expected? Your experience could inspire someone else watching this. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button and share it with a friend or family member who might benefit. After all, staying sharp is more fun when we do it together. Remember, aging might be inevitable, but memory loss isn't. With these simple daily habits, you're not just preserving your memories, you're creating space for new ones. Here's to a lifetime of clear thinking, joyful moments, and a mind that stays as vibrant as you are. Thanks for watching.